Have a story to tell? I believe you. Ghost, cryptids, the unknown. Let's talk about it. This is my GhostCast. Hey guys, welcome back to the next episode of my GhostCast. Your host, Threz. On this episode, we talk to Manny Soto, comic book artist, martial artist, and Santeria priest. So I question him about, understanding what Santeria is. What is it? And what can you tell us about it? Okay, guys, stay tuned and enjoy this episode. Hey guys, welcome back to my GhostCast. I'm your host, Threz Gonzalez. Now today, I got somebody badass to show you guys. This guy, the more I get to know him, the more I like him. So today, let me introduce you guys to Manny Soto. Manny, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Cool. Well, let's introduce yourself to the cast. This is my audience. Manny, this is Manny. One of the things that's pretty neat is how did we meet? Let's introduce ourselves to the audience that way.
We met at a seminar that my sensei put on here in Temple, Texas. And then you were there, several other people were there, and we met right there. Yeah. Doing a little boojing con.
We were doing a charity event. I think it was
for his church. Yeah, we were raising money for his church so they could get a new building. Yeah.
Did everything go according to plan?
They made more than expected, so it went pretty well.
America, that's pretty awesome. Well, good. Well, let's hear a little bit about your history. I heard you're from New York.
Yeah, I'm from Brooklyn, New York. I don't have an accent, but it's okay. I was in the Army for 14 years. I did 4 combat deployments and 1 to Kosovo. I'm also a priest in here in the States they call Santeria. And also
thank you for your service, by the way. Thank you for your service.
Thank you for the support. Thank you. And, basically traveled. I lived in Germany for my first duty station for a little bit there for 4 years, almost 4 years. Then was stationed in Kentucky, Tennessee. And that's when the Twin Towers attack happened. And that's when I started deploying back and forth. And then I ended up here in Texas. And got out of the Army here. I went to school for acupuncture for a bit. That didn't kind of work out. Didn't like the school. It was not geared towards the rounder-eyed people. But then so I made some really good friends there, and then I moved on to got my bachelor's in animation after that, and that's how I got into what I really wanted to do was draw comics, and I'm working on the 3rd issue right now of a series called Mojo Risen, and I'm also working on the 3rd book of a series called Greed. And
nice.
Usually they end up on Kickstarter, and that's how you can pick up the books, unless you see me somewhere and I have some copies.
We'll have to actually see you somewhere so I get some copies.
Yeah.
Audience, I want you to understand, Manny is a very fascinating. I'm going to call you a creature for now.
That's good. I'll identify as it.
Yeah, that guy's got a lot of stuff. I got a feeling he's going to be on our show quite a bit. He's got some pretty cool connections, and it's going to sound pretty cool. So the comic book world, man, how hard is it to get into that world there?
There's so many artists. There's so many writers. But the cool thing is with these Kickstarters and Indiegogo and stuff, you can draw up your comic, write up your comic, get it ready and produce it yourself and sell it that way. And with how Marvel and DC are going, a lot of people are leaning more towards the independents, and they're
that's
finding
how it
these
should be.
books. Yeah, they're finding these, these niche books. They're like, you know what, that's what I really like right there, and there's so much variety outside of them that somewhere you'll find a book that's right for you. That's something you're looking for, If you want clowns that are Ghostbusters or something, I'm sure someone's made it, stuff like that.
That'd be interesting. So what'd you think of the last Ghostbuster movie?
Oh, that movie was awesome.
Yeah. I still haven't seen it yet. I gotta check that out.
Oh,
We're
man.
giving away a date here.
It's at Redbox. It's at Redbox.
Is it really? I gotta go check.
Yeah.
I'm one of those lazy guys that's hoping that it's on the Xbox so I can just go, hey.
It should be on there. Yeah.
I got to check that out. Well, that's interesting, man, because here's a piece that I think is really important in the industry and in the comic books. Is so as a kid, I was very, very bad at reading. I couldn't read. I sucked at reading. Here I was held back in school one year because my reading was so poor. So I was like, man, I got to fix that as a kid. So what I started doing is I got into comics. And the more, and the more I understand boys' minds and the way we are is that we're visual, So the more I read and saw them, more I saw, the more I read, and I got interested in characters and storylines, and I was into comics big time.
Yeah. And then after a while, you realize you're reading big words and all this stuff.
Yeah, because there was words I didn't know what they were, so I wind up going and started looking them up using the dictionary. Like you're supposed to. I wasn't that bright. I was like, no, I'm good. I'm real good. And so that helped me with my vocabulary. And next thing you know, here I'm in 7th grade, and we're taking those placement exams, and I'm scoring a lot higher. And the other Mexican kids are like, that's because you read comics. And I'm like, dude, that's what the hell are you all pissed off? Actually, no, that was in high school. That was during the 90s. And I got all these people I knew that are all hating. I'm like, why are you hating, dude? That's because you read comics. And I read.
Yeah, exactly.
So
my thing is, I was a visual guy, so I didn't really care about the stories. I was more into like the artwork, and there's artists that caught my eye, and I'd be like, oh, I got to collect this one, but I didn't collect it because of the stories. It was more like for the artwork, and then the stories came with it, so I started liking that after a while.
So we have that's a similar background. One of my favorite artists back in the late 80s, early 90s was Jim Lee.
He's one of my favorite.
Does he still do anything anymore?
He's the editor-in-chief of DC Comics, and he does a lot of covers and stuff like that.
Dude, I was like, you know what? I need to work out so I could look like that. I'm like, oh, he made men look just so iconic, masculine, iconic that I was like, yeah that's what. He made all women look hot.
He's awesome. And Mark Silvestri is another good one.
Silvestri, yeah. I remember all those guys they did so many, man. What was that guy that did the Spider-Man? What was his name?
Todd McFarlane?
Todd McFarlane. Yeah. Dude, there's a friend of mine who has his own comic company. Shout out to Clinton Farley. He has, I think, what is his name of his show? I'll put it on here. I'll do edit real quick. Oh, this and that. He was a huge fan of McFarlane. I remember in the days, and he would start drawing like them. We started drawing big time. Sorry to get off on the tangent on but connecting it to the material. But that's awesome, man. Anything else? What else is going on with you?
That's about it right now. Just doing my comics and martial arts. I I studied Bujinkan. Obviously, I just started about a year ago, and I studied BJJ. I'm a Nidan and Tomiki Aikido, which
That's that's
I
badass.
I wouldn't have gotten into Aikido if it wasn't for watching Steven Seagal movies when I was a kid.
Marked for death.
Yeah. When
One
I
of
saw
my
him just throwing people around, I was like, man, that's what I want to learn.
there was me and my really good friend Robert Grisha, who was a stuntman for old movies and stuff. But he and I used to always like, you killed my brother, now I'm going to kill you. Which I think we're going to be getting into later.
Nice.
Interview. All right. So one last question I think is really important for a good transition would be, what got you into the supernatural, or what's your interest in the supernatural?
Ever since a kid, I've always been interested in it. I was always a horror fan. When I watched The Exorcist, I was like, oh man, I think I was 7 or 8 when I watched it. And I was like, man, I want to be that guy, the priest. And funny thing is, that was my first email address was Father Marin at, I think it was Yahoo or AOL.com.
Really? Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. Small world, huh? Where our paths lead us.
Yeah. And I mean, I was just always into the werewolves, and I want the ghost stuff, and all the Exorcist movies. Just, hearing stories about people would tell ghost stories about things that happened to them. They're like sleeping and they felt something touch them, things like that.
It happens to me all the time. It's usually, then I wake up and I got like Cheetos in my hand. What happened? No, anyway.
I think that's sleepwalking.
I'll do sleep eating. No, man. Well, cool. Well, we're going to take a small break, guys. Okay. And we're going to get into the first segment of the really interesting topic we're about to hit up. So hold right there. We'll be right back. And you're watching My GhostCast with Realtor in the Loop. Hey guys, welcome back to My GhostCast. Your host, Therese. Today, our guest is Manny Soto. Manny is going to kind of teach us a little bit or update our audience a little bit about Santeria, perhaps clearing out some myths, a little bit of stuff on there. Manny, take it away.
So when I got, I used to hear the stories about the Santeria and, growing up, because there's a lot of that, in the culture, Puerto Rican culture. A lot of people are into it and stuff. And then growing up, I would hear people talk bad about it because, there's the ones that are heavy Christian and they're like, no, that's bad, stay away from that. But then you would also hear no, it's good, it's about enlightening yourself, progressing yourself, making a better life for yourself and stuff. And eventually, I was always looking around. I looked at Buddhism. I was going to be a Catholic priest for a little bit. And then, I searched around. I talked to
Was that like seminary school? Is that what you went to?
No, I never went to the actual seminary. I was in the process of getting to that. The discernment period, as they call it. I even stayed in a monastery for about a week or two.
Nice.
In Gethsemane in Kentucky. If you guys are familiar with Thomas Merton, he was a priest who was also an author during the 70s, I think. So that's where he was. I actually got to see his grave and the little cabin he would go to write his books.
Interesting.
Yeah, I got off topic. But
oh, sorry, man. Sorry.
yeah, it's cool. So yeah, and then finally I just kept reading up on it, and decided that was something I wanted to do. And I learned more about the religion. You start off with, there's the Orishas, which are, we don't call them deity. They're like the saints, that's why in the Hispanic culture it's called Los Santos. And then we believe there's one God, and then obviously he has his emissaries, which are the Orisha, which do all the work and stuff for him. Because, God doesn't have time for all these problems. We're like little ants, So, we'll start with El Legua. He's the Orisha of the crossroads. He's the first one you talk to. He is the first one that is appeased before going to any of the other Orisha. He's basically like the doorway to the other Orisha. Similar to how the Hindu have Ganesh, he is the first one that he's kind of the one at the beginning. And then after that, you have Obatala. He is seen all white. He's the keeper of the white robe. Mountains are a representation of him. He's the owner of our heads. He makes sure that we have a clear conscience, that we're able to be good humans, treat people right and stuff like that. And then you have the warriors, which are Ogun, and he's the Orisha of iron. So in Nigeria, where Yoruba once was, they still, if you're not Christian, you swear over a piece of iron, like at a court case, because
really?
iron. Yeah, because he's justice, And then there's Yemaya. She's the owner of the top of the ocean. Then there's Shun. She's the river deity. She's also honey. She represents femininity. And you have Shango. He's the Orisha of thunder and lightning and male passion, virility. And, there's so many Orisha. I could go on for hours, but in the tradition, when you initiate, you start out with your warriors, which is they're the ones that will guide you and protect you. And, that's why they're called, warriors. You get your Elegua, a representation of Elegua. You get your Ogun and Ochosi, and Ogun share with Augusta. And Ochosi is pure justice. There's a story where his arrows never miss its target. So there's one story where he left for battle, and he left his things behind, and then he saw that when he came back, one of his goats was missing. And he said, justice has to be, justice must be served. So he shot an arrow, and he said, whoever stole my goat may this arrow strike them down. Well, it turns out it was his own mother. And the arrow, it flew to the sky and landed and hit her. Turns out she had grabbed the goat for some reason. It's a very long story. I'm shortening it up.
No, that's all right.
The justice you have to be careful in justice because sometimes the wrong people get affected.
Just like today, a lot of that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And this is a religion that's like 8,000 years old. It's always been there from in the Yoruba area, which is now Nigeria, and some of the other places around it. I got crowned in it a few years ago in 2016. I went to Cuba and I got initiated there. And when you get initiated, you have your parent Orisha, which is like your deity, that's your actual parent that put you on this earth. And it's mine is Olokun. She is the owner of all waters. She is at the bottom of the ocean. She represents all the mysteries that's down there that we don't know about because it's, we can't get down there.
Like Godzilla and some of these others?
Yeah, Cthulhu.
Cthulhu, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so she represents that, the owner of all oceans. She would be, I guess, comparably, to compare whether like Neptune or Poseidon. And then she's my main Orisha. That she's the owner of my head. That's what we call your crown, the Orisha. And then you also have the other parents, which is, mine would be Chango. And then when you look at the personalities of these Orisha, you'll see those personalities within you. And then it makes total sense when you're like, oh, okay. Because a lot of people, they'll be attracted to one of, let's say, Oshun, they love her beauty, and they're like, oh, I want to be just like her. Well, then it turns out that your crown is someone else, and then you see the more you work with that deity, and you're like, I really am more like this person. It's just a growing process as you go, and you get to see. Like Olokun, she tends to, she doesn't like her stuff being touched, which I've always been like that, even as a kid. She can be very mysterious or quiet at times, which I'm usually like that. If I have to say something, I say, what I need to say, and that's it. Stretch it out. And then in working with the Orisha, you grow. They help you on your journey and help you evolve as a person, make you a better person in that journey. Now, Santeria is a word that came from, obviously the Hispanic language. In Cuba, they call it Santeria because we would use the Catholic saints as the deities so that they wouldn't know that they were worshiping the African deities. The slaves wouldn't get in trouble for that. It was masked under the Catholic saints.
Interesting. It's kind of like capoeira, huh?
Yeah.
The idea behind capoeira, which is a fighting style, but it was under the guise of dancing.
Dance. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So a lot of the religions in the Caribbean are like that, like the Haitian voodoo, they would have to hide their own beliefs under this guise so they wouldn't get in trouble. So what they would do was, like, let's say Chango, his colors are red and white. So the Catholic saint that he was attributed to was Saint Barbara because she always wears red and white. And if you read her story, it has to do with lightning. So they kept, they matched it up so that you could,
kind of immune,
similar,
of the religion to where, okay, well, it follows under that guy, guys, but the pattern. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, and that's pretty much it on that.
How does someone, I guess, follow that path, and how do they find out what
you find a godparent, and then that godparent will guide you on what the things you need to do. They'll show you how to pray and how to things you should do to live your life, and what we call iwepele, which is clear head, good moral character, etc.
Kind of like giving a Bushido code, so to say. I got to talk about
yeah, just like that, yeah. And of course, and then obviously, we have humans, not human sacrifice. We do animal sacrifice, but what people don't understand is that what's given is the blood, and then the animal is eaten by the congregation of the people, and nothing is wasted. A lot of times, if there's extra food, it's given to the needy, to the poor, and stuff like that.
So it's not like Apocalypto where you're just getting
boom, there you go, wasted. No, just the blood is the offering, which is the sacrifice, and then we celebrate with they cook the food and we just have a huge meal afterwards.
But that's
how people go to church and then they go to.
Go ahead.
No, it's just like in Christian church, they go worship and then they go eat somewhere. We're just doing everything ourselves.
Not Golden Corral, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
This is a Golden Corral. No, but aren't most religions have a type of sacrifice anyway? I guess they move away from it. Have they moved away?
Yeah,
from it?
a lot of people moved away from it because of the perceived notions of it, and basically what was imposed by the beliefs of the majority.
Okay, so they didn't have much of a democracy on that one, huh?
Yeah, because a lot of people are Christian nowadays, so and people kind of don't want to be, they don't want to get into conflicts and stuff like that. So a lot of them just said, "Well, we won't do this." They'll leave us alone and stuff.
And they never do, though. Once you appease it, it's always taken to the next step. I mean,
it's not all of them. It's always the ones that don't actually know their own religion.
So true. I know. Like I used to, when I was a kid, I used to ask a lot of questions. I got in trouble in catechism because I was raised Catholic too. Mm-hmm. But they were like legitimate questions I had, and I was like, that doesn't make sense. So how does this do that? And they're like, are you trying to be a jokester? No, I mean, not really, but I do have the questions. I know it's the kind of questions I'm not supposed to ask. And in retrospect, I get it, because there was a lot of the catechism folks were volunteer people who were there to help out the church, right? They're like, okay, well, it's somebody's parent. They're like, hey, well, I'll go teach, that. And then you're like, okay, I got a real question for you. So, shut up. I'm a Christian man myself, but I kind of understand it. Other people go their own paths, and I get it. And I left for a while. I did, and actually that's when times grew darker for me. I got introduced to some really, really ugly things out there, creatures, all kinds of stuff. I was like, oh, and I had nothing because I didn't believe in anything at the time. So, what's your armor? What's your shelter? What's your weapon?
Yeah, part of our thing is also I don't know if you're familiar with we call it spiritismo, which is like trying to figure out how they do the seance and stuff like that. When there's Spanish culture, we have an altar for the ancestors, and that's where you do spiritismo, where you give reverence to them. You thank them for all the things that because without them we wouldn't be here, and they're basically the foundation of everything.
That's true. I mean, I guess that's where you get aspects like Dia de los Muertos, right? You kind of
like that. We do it every Sunday, and that's when you worship it's not worshiping the ancestors, you're thanking them and giving them praise for all they ever done. So the prayers that you do for them elevates them in the afterlife. And the more you pray for them, the more they pray for you in the afterlife, so that you can have a good life here in the physical world.
Yeah, that's interesting. I brought on a friend of mine. He's in one of the earlier season 1 episodes. A good friend of mine, Luke Bujenkamp, got the stuntman, and he's on all kinds of. I think he was on Vikings for a while. I think he still is. He's come out on different shows, and I've known him for a while. We met in Japan, actually.
Oh, and, Luke isn't that George's teacher?
No, that's different. That's Luke Mullen.
Oh, different Luke. Okay.
Yeah, this one's Irish from Ireland. So
okay.
Luke, and he. I didn't know this, but he's like, dude, because I have a degree in Irish folklore. I'm like, what? Oh my God!
Yeah.
So he started bringing up how a lot of our traditions as Hispanic folks, that we got aspects of some of the old ways. You know, he entertained us about Halloween and where Halloween came from. I thought that was pretty neat. You know?
Yeah, I mean, we're all a mix of people. So you're gonna have a little bit of everything.
Yeah, and you know,
I think that's also what a lot of people, when they're called to a lot of different things, if they look at their history, they're a mixture of different people. So that yearning is going to be there to learn the ancient ways.
I'm always open to listening to stuff, you know, and I'm like, okay, well, I have a couple of students that are currently my students and that I train. They have different belief systems and backgrounds, and I just find some of what they're saying is pretty fascinating. You know, like, yeah, you know. One of the guys talked about I don't know if I could ever get him on the show. I won't say his name because he's kind of a shy guy. But he was talking. One of the scary stories he was telling me about is he was going through a dark time, and he was able to see what he called Christian demons, demons that are different based on Christianity versus the demons that he normally would see. And this, the way he described what he saw, just creeped the shit out of me. I was like, oh my God. He goes, yeah, those are what we call Christian demons, and they're within that particular belief system. Oh, so those are my guys I battle. You know? So is there anything in particular you guys on your end that you guys battle? Who are the darker forces?
For us, the darker forces is within ourselves. We cause these things to happen. So that's why the Orisha are there. The Orisha are the forces of nature, and that's they're there to guide you and teach you and do right. And you're always striving to be a better person. Though you may fall, you know, we all make mistakes, but you can always do better. Every day you have a new day to do better.
That's pretty cool. I got that. I'm working on that every day, man. There's so much of my life that I'm like, damn, did I need to do it? Did I need to kick that dude that hard? I was like, punch that guy in the throat like that.
You need to pull his throat out like that.
I know. I was like, I did the old, Roadhouse. You know, Patrick Swayze technique. You know,
maybe he deserved it. No.
I think most of the time they do. No, man. Yeah. Is there any supernatural experiences that you don't mind sharing with the audience?
Yeah, there's so I'm also a priest in Haitian Voodoo. That one, I went to Haiti several times. I tried to get as much as I can. It's awesome there. So when I went there the first time to get initiated, I can't talk about the initiation, but I'll just go around what I can say. So first thing is, I'm in the room and I feel a hand grab my leg and pull me. And I was literally pulled because the other people there saw me. And you know, their eyes were wide open. They're like, oh my gosh. And then when I asked my godmother, who would be the priestess in charge, she was like, yeah, they do that to let you know that they're here watching you. I was like, they could just say so. Not just yank me out of my bed.
Yeah, can't you just like shake my hand? You know?
Yeah.
No, we grab your leg.
And,
That's how we do things.
So possession is real big in tradition. And one time in Haiti, the spirit Bosu came down. I mean, they always come down, so it's not like something we would be like, oh my gosh, she's come down, you know. And Bosu, he's a three-horned bull. And he's very strong. When you ask him for something, you'll get it, but he's slow at getting it. You know, it takes him time to build up his speed and get to what he needs to do. But he is a very powerful deity. So he came down in possession, and you can feel the rumbling every time he took a step. And then he just went over to one of the pillars in the temple, and the man that was possessed by him was very skinny. He's a very skinny man. And he just headbutted the pillar on the temple, and you can feel the rumble, and all the lights went out within like a block radius. And they didn't come back on until the next day.
Is that light you were talking about?
Yeah. It was just gone. All the electricity was gone. It's stuff like that, and
man,
you get to see them come down in possession a lot of times.
That's interesting. We got Dr. Price, who's come on here a couple of times, and we'll be bringing him on again. Dr. Price talks about possession, you know, in a way that that it used to be part of, I guess, regular psychiatry and helping people deal with stuff. Mm-hmm. You know, multiple personalities and all that had older pieces to it. Now, if you get a chance, if you in the audience, you get a chance, go watch Dr. Price's idea on that. I'd hate to try to speak on it and I'll mess it all up and be like, yeah, and then this happened, you know. But yeah, he kind of talks about that, you know. It's another viewpoint, but it kind of connects with what you're saying, you know, and really interesting. That's pretty cool.
You see it in the Pentecostal churches when the Spirit is in them, the Holy Spirit.
Oh, I've seen videos like that. I like the one with Benny Hinn. That guy just smacking people.
Did you see the Hadouken he did?
Dude, I saw that. I watch it usually with watch the bodies hit the floor. That's one of my favorite. No, but well, cool. Again, man, I'd like to have you on a little to bring up some more stuff. I got a book on some African folklore that I'd like to see. You can shed some light and enlighten.
Yeah, I'll grab my notes next time and have some of the stories ready.
Okay. Well, one of the things I'd like to do before we end the interview is, how can people get a hold of you? Look at your art that you do from that aspect. You know,
on Facebook mainly, just under Manuel Soto. I also have a Facebook page called The Art of Manuel Soto. My Instagram is NinjaBear75. You can find me on there.
I gotta look you up.
Yeah, that's the three main places I have stuff. If people need art, they can just send me a message on there, and I'll get back with them.
That's awesome. If everything goes well, I'd be trying to visit Manny sometime in the future. I know Austin has a bunch of haunted spots out there, and we'll introduce some stuff, and hopefully you'll be able to co-host with me on some of these things. So
yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. Also, where can they find you in regards to any of the supernatural aspect or any Santeria?
Just on Facebook too. I don't put it out too much, because if someone really needs if that's the spiritual path that they're on, it'll show up. Their door will open. We don't actually go out and try and get people. Yeah.
How about
they can message me. Yeah, they can message me with questions if I do spiritual cleansings and things like that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And that aspect.
Yeah, awesome. They can reach me on Facebook, and I do spiritual cleansings. We do misas, which is like I guess the Spanish version of the seance, and it all came from the same place, Allan Kardec.
Nice. Well, again, Manny, thanks so much for being on the show, enlightening us. And please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Say a little bit more. Look him up. Send him some messages. I'm going to try to put up some of his art on here so you guys can see it. And please help support the show and help support Manny and his comic book art. We need to take comic books back, man.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Manny. Any last words you'd like to share with the audience?
Just be you. Always be you.
Excellent. All right, guys. This is Threz with My GhostCast signing off. Have a good one, and we'll see you on the next episode. Thanks.
You're watching GhostCast with Realtor in the Loop.